So today we're tackling something huge. The ancient art and, believe it or not, the modern science of letting go. We're going to explore this idea that letting go of what you can't control, that's not weakness. It might just be the source of your greatest strength and freedom.
I mean, we've all been there, right? Holding on so tightly to something. Maybe it's a past hurt, or some anger, or just an outcome you absolutely cannot control. It's that constant tension, and it's just exhausting. This quote, wow, it just perfectly captures how we only end up hurting ourselves in that struggle.
So, let's get into our first section, ancient paths to peace. But what if the answer wasn't to grip that rope even tighter? What if it was just opening our hands? For literally thousands of years, some of the world's greatest minds have been pointing us in this direction, offering a totally different way out of the struggle.
And what's fascinating is that three huge traditions, Stoicism, Buddhism, and Taoism, all landed on the exact same powerful insight. They all said, hey, the suffering, it's not actually from the problems themselves, it's from how tightly we're attached to them. So each one came up with its own unique playbook for letting go, a way to find peace, not by trying to bend the world to our will, but just by changing our relationship to it. Okay, so first up, the Stoics. They gave us this incredibly powerful tool called the Dichotomy of Control. It's so simple, but so effective. It forces you to ask one question over and over. Can I control this or not? If the answer is yes, things like your own judgments, your actions, how you respond, then yeah, you put your energy there. But if it's a no, like what other people think of you or the final result of your hard work, you practice acceptance. It's like being an archer. You can control your aim, your focus, your release, but once that arrow leaves the bow, the wind is going to do what the wind is going to do. Now let's jump over to Buddhism, where we find a really similar idea. The second noble truth says the root of all our suffering is something called tanha. It basically means thirst or craving, but it's a very specific kind of craving. It's wanting things to stay the same in a world where nothing stays the same, right? We want the good times to last forever and the bad times to never show up. This image of the burning ember is perfect. Holding on to those cravings is like holding on to a hot coal. The only way to stop getting burned is to just drop it. And then you have Taoism, which gives us this beautiful metaphor with the idea of Wu Wei. You often hear it translated as effortless action, and it's all about getting in sync with the natural flow of life. The Tao, instead of constantly swimming against the current, just think about water. It never forces its way, it just flows. It goes around rocks, finding the easiest path. Wu Wei is about letting go of our ego's desperate need to control everything and instead just learning to trust the flow. So this is where it gets really interesting. This ancient wisdom, the kind of stuff you'd expect from philosophers and monks, it's not just a matter of faith anymore. In the last few decades, modern psychology has actually put this stuff to the test, and guess what? It checks out. They've validated it and given us actual evidence-based tools to find that same kind of inner peace.
I mean, you can literally draw a straight line from those ancient gardens in China and the public squares of Athens right into a modern therapist's office. Those core ideas, non-attachment, acceptance, focusing only on what you can control, they've been packaged into some seriously powerful therapies, especially mindfulness-based stress reduction and acceptance and commitment therapy, which both really took off in the late 20th century.
Let's start with ACT. That's acceptance and commitment therapy. Now, a lot of therapies might try to get you to argue with or get rid of your negative thoughts. ACT does something totally different. It teaches you to just accept them, to see them as just thoughts, not facts. And then you commit to taking actions based on what truly matters to you, your core values. See, the goal isn't to feel good all the time. It's to live a meaningful life, even when pain shows up. And that skill, the ability to stay open and present and do what matters no matter what's going on in your head, that's what psychologists call psychological flexibility. And right alongside that, you have MBSR, or mindfulness-based stress reduction. This basically takes the ancient Buddhist practice of mindfulness and brings it into a modern non-religious setting. It's really simple, but it's not easy. It's the practice of just paying attention to right now, your thoughts, your feelings, what's happening in your body, without judging any of it. And that simple act of just noticing creates this little gap between something happening and how you react. And in that gap, that's where you find the power to choose your response instead of just being on autopilot. Okay, so all of this sounds really good in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? That's what we're getting into in our third section. And the absolute first thing we need to clear up is the huge difference between letting go and its lazy cousin, giving up. And this is such a critical distinction. Letting go is an active decision. It's powerful. It's you intentionally releasing something that's just not working for you anymore. Maybe it's a grudge, a fear, or an old dream. It comes from a place of strength, and it opens up new space in your life. Giving up, though, that's totally different. That's a passive kind of defeat. It comes from feeling powerless, and it usually just makes you feel small and ashamed. One is about expanding your life. The other is about retreating from it.
So back to ACT for a second. It gives us this awesome roadmap with its 6 core processes. Think of it like a toolkit for building that psychological flexibility we mentioned. It starts with acceptance, just letting your feelings be there. Then there's cognitive diffusion, which is learning to step back and just watch your thoughts. Being present, of course, pulls you into the here and now. Self as context is this cool idea that you're the sky, not the weather passing through. And then the 2 big ones that tie it all together, figuring out your core values and taking committed action that moves you toward them.
And you know what? The science on this is just crystal clear. This stuff works. The benefits of mindfulness, the kind they teach in MBSR, are really well documented. And we're not talking about fuzzy feelings here. We're talking tangible results. Lower stress, being more self-aware, being able to handle your emotions better. It can even affect your physical health, like helping you sleep better or lowering your blood pressure. It's just incredible proof of that mind-body connection.
Okay, but here's a really important heads up. There's a sneaky trap you can fall into called spiritual bypassing. This is when you use all these wonderful ideas to just avoid your pain instead of actually moving through it. It can look like toxic positivity, just slapping a smile on everything and pretending it's all fine, or it may show up as a fear of anger, thinking it's not spiritual to get mad. Or maybe it's rushing to forgive someone just so you can say you've let it go without ever really dealing with the hurt. Real healing, true letting go, means you have to face the wound first. You can't just paper over it.
But when we manage to avoid that trap, when we practice real, genuine letting go, that's when we find freedom on the inside. And the result is, well, it's profound. It's not just some temporary relief. It fundamentally changes how you show up in the world.
And this right here, this is the whole point. Real freedom isn't about having a life with no problems, no storms, no heartaches. I mean, that's a fantasy, right? Real freedom is what you find when you stop fighting against reality. It's that deep inner peace that comes from accepting what is and pouring all your precious energy into the one thing you can actually influence, what you do next. Look, this practice isn't some quick fix. It's a journey, a path that leads from that constant struggle to a really profound sense of inner freedom. So to get you started on that path, I just want to leave you with a question to think about. What is one thing, just one thing, that you're holding on to right now that just doesn't serve you anymore? And what do you think might happen if you are finally ready to let it go?